Chapter 20: The Future of Gold and the International Order. 1. Monetary gold versus industrial and ornamental use. As we turn our eyes toward the 21st century, we find gold in a state of dual identity. For the first time in history, the monetary role of gold is officially dead in the eyes of the law, yet its value has never been higher. This creates a fascinating tension between its role as a god, a store of value, and its role as a tool, a material for industry. In the modern world, gold is an essential component of the digital age. It is the perfect conductor in our smartphones, the heat shielding for our satellites, and a critical material in high-tech medicine. However, these industrial uses account for only a small fraction of its price. The vast majority of the world's gold remains locked away in jewelry boxes and high-security vaults. This is because humanity still treats gold as the ultimate reserve. When a central bank in the 2020s buys tons of gold, they aren't planning to build computers. They are buying a relic that they hope will protect their nation if the digital financial system ever collapses. Gold has become a Schrödinger's asset. It is both a useless, barbarous relic and the most precious strategic reserve on the planet. Its future lies in this duality. As technology demands more of the metal for its physical properties, the instability of the global order ensures that its ancient, monetary soul remains more relevant than ever. 2. The role of an international bank in future stability. The history of gold has always been a struggle between fragmentation and unity. In the 19th century, stability was achieved because every nation followed the same unwritten rules. Today, in a world of complex fiat currencies, the quest for stability has shifted toward the concept of an international clearinghouse, a bank of banks. W.A. Shaw envisioned a world where gold would no longer need to be physically shipped back and forth across the Atlantic. Instead, a central international authority would hold the gold in a neutral vault, and nations would settle their debts through digital ledger entries. We see the ghost of this idea in the Bank for International Settlements and the IMF. The role of these institutions in the future is to act as the new gold, a source of impartial mathematical trust. However, as we saw in the crime of 1873, any central authority is vulnerable to political capture. The future of global stability depends on whether we can create an international bank that is as impartial as the metal once was, or if we will remain trapped in a cycle of currency wars. 3. Lessons from the history of bimetallism and paper systems. If history is a teacher, its primary lesson regarding money is that complexity often leads to catastrophe. The 19th century experiment with bimetallism, the attempt to use both gold and silver, failed because it tried to fix a price between two things that the market wanted to value differently. It was a war against the laws of supply and demand, a war that the market eventually won. Similarly, the history of paper systems teaches us that flexibility is often a mask for debasement. From the continental currency of the American Revolution to the hyperinflation of the Weimar Republic, paper money has a 100% failure rate when it is untethered from reality. The lesson for the 21st century is clear. A system must have an external anchor, whether that anchor is a physical metal, a fixed mathematical code like Bitcoin, or a strict constitutional limit on printing. Money requires a sacred boundary. Without it, the paper frontier eventually becomes a desert of devalued labor and broken promises. 4. The balance sheet of gold. Final verdict on its historical merit. As we weigh the balance sheet of gold, we must acknowledge both its brilliance and its brutality. On the asset side, gold provided the world with its most prosperous century of global trade. It fostered internationalism, rewarded thrift, and punished government waste. It was a universal language that allowed a miner in Nome to speak to a banker in Zurich without a translator. On the liability side, gold was an unforgiving master. It demanded immense human suffering in the mines and imposed long depressions on those who could least afford them. It was a rigid system in a fluid world, eventually breaking because it could not bend. The final verdict of history is that gold was the perfect money for an imperfect world. It provided the discipline that humanity lacked, acting as a substitute for the trust we could not yet provide to one another. 5. Outlook for the 21st century. Gold in a digital world. We conclude our work in the 2020s, a decade where the golden sands of Nome seem like ancient history, yet the spirit of gold is undergoing a digital resurgence. We are entering the era of tokenized gold, where physical bars in a vault are linked to digital bits on a blockchain, allowing the ancient stability of metal to be moved at the speed of light. The 21st century outlook is one of convergence. We are no longer choosing between gold or digital. We are moving toward a system where the physical scarcity of gold is being used to provide weight to the weightless world of the internet. Gold remains the ultimate referee. In an age of deepfakes, infinite debt, and digital uncertainty, the fact that gold is real, rare, and physical makes it more relevant than ever. The frontier has changed, from the frozen creeks of the north to the silicon ships of the present, but the human desire for a hard truth remains unchanged. Gold was the first money, and in the heart of our most advanced technologies, it may very well be the last. Epilogue: The Eternal Anchor. A final reflection on the journey of the gold standard. We began this work in the mud of the Seward Peninsula, following the three lucky Swedes as they stumbled upon a discovery that would alter the destiny of nations. From that singular physical moment of finding gold in the sand, we traced the expansion of a global system that attempted to turn the wheat of the earth into the value of a civilization. We've explored the cold, hard logic of W.A. Shaw, the legislative crimes of the 19th century, and the dramatic shocks of the 20th century that eventually pushed the yellow metal into the shadows of history. As we close this narrative, a profound realization remains. The gold standard was never just a monetary policy. It was a testament to the human desire for an objective truth. In an era where money has become a digital abstraction, a series of flickering entries in a central bank's database, the history of gold serves as a vital reminder that true wealth cannot be summoned out of thin air. It must be found, it must be earned, and it must be protected by the laws of nature rather than the whims of men. The golden sands of Nome are now silent, and the great golden windows of the world's treasuries are barred. Yet gold continues to sit in the vaults of the powerful and the safes of the wise. It remains the ultimate insurance policy. While paper burns and digital codes can be erased, gold endures. It is the only financial asset that does not rely on a promise from a government or a bank. It is the silent observer of our economic experiments, waiting for the moment when humanity tires of flexible illusions and seeks the comfort of a hard, heavy reality once more. The frontier has changed. We no longer look for gold in the frozen creeks of the north, but in the mathematical puzzles of the blockchain and the asteroid belts of the solar system. But the heart of the seeker remains unchanged. Whether it is a nugget, a coin, or a digital bit, we are all searching for the same thing, a standard that lasts. The history of the gold standard is the history of our quest for a moral money. And though the systems change and the centuries pass, the invariable yardstick of the Earth's most precious metal remains our most enduring anchor in a world of constant change.